I really consider myself a storyteller, but I don't really tell stories in the usual way, in the sense that I don't usually tell my own stories. Instead, I'm really interested in building tools that allow large numbers of other people to tell their stories, people all around the world. I do this because I think that people actually have a lot in common. I think people are very similar. But I also think that we have trouble seeing that. As I look around the world, I see a lot of gaps, and I think we all see a lot of gaps. And we define ourselves by our gaps. There's language gaps. There's ethnicity and racial gaps. There's age gaps. There's gender gaps. There's sexuality gaps. There's wealth and money gaps. There's education gaps. There's also religious gaps. We have all these gaps, and I think we like our gaps because they make us feel like we identify with something, some smaller community. But I think that actually, despite our gaps, we really have a lot in common. And I think one thing we have in common is a very deep need to express ourselves. I think this is a very old human desire. It's nothing new. But the thing about self-expression is that there's traditionally been this imbalance between the desire that we have to express ourselves and the number of sympathetic friends who are willing to stand around and listen. This also is nothing new. Since the dawn of human history, we've tried to rectify this imbalance by making art, writing poems, singing songs, scripting editorials and sending them into a newspaper, gossiping with friends. This is nothing new. What's new is that in the last several years, a lot of these very traditional physical human activities, these acts of self-expression, have been moving onto the internet. And as that's happened, people have been leaving behind footprints that tell stories of their moments of self-expression. And so what I do is I write computer programs that study very large sets of these footprints and then try to draw conclusions about the people who left them, what they feel, what they think, what's different in the world today than usual, these sorts of questions. One project that explores these ideas, which was made about a year ago, is a piece called We Feel Fine. This is a piece that every 2 or 3 minutes scans the world's newly posted blog entries for occurrences of the phrases, I feel or I am feeling. And when it finds one of those phrases, it grabs the sentence up to the period and then automatically tries to deduce the age, gender, and geographical location of the person that wrote that sentence. Then knowing the geographical location and the time, we can also then figure out the weather when that person wrote the sentence. All of this information is saved in a database that collects about 20,000 feelings a day. It's been running for about a year and a half. It's reached about 7.5 million human feelings now. And I'll show you a glimpse of how this information is then visualized. So this is We Feel Fine. What you see here are a madly swarming mass of particles, each of which represents a single human feeling that was stated in the last few hours. The color of each particle corresponds to the type of feeling inside, so that happy, positive feelings are brightly colored and sad, negative feelings are darkly colored. The diameter of each dot represents the length of the sentence inside, so that the large dots contain large sentences and the small dots contain small sentences. Any dot can be clicked and expanded, and we see here, I would just feel so much better if I could curl up in his arms right now and feel his affection for me and the embrace of his body and the tenderness of his lips. So it gets pretty hot and steamy sometimes in the world of human emotions. And all of these are stated by people. I know that objectively it really doesn't mean much, but after spending so many years as a small fish in a big pond, it's nice to feel bigger again. The dots exhibit human qualities. They kind of have their own physics, and they swarm wildly around, kind of exploring the world of life. And then they also exhibit curiosity. You can see a few of them are swarming around the cursor right now. You can see some other ones are swarming around the bottom left corner of the screen, around 6 words. Those 6 words represent the 6 movements of We Feel Fine. We're currently seeing madness. There's also murmurs, montage, mobs, metrics, and mounds. And I'll walk you through a few of those now. Murmurs causes all of the feelings to fly to the ceiling, and then one by one in reverse chronological order, they excuse themselves, entering this scrolling list of feelings. I feel a bit better now. I feel confused and unsure of what the hell I want to do. I feel gypped out of something awesome here. I feel so free, I feel so good. I feel like I'm in this fog of depression that I can't get out of. And you can click any of these to go out and visit the blog from which it was collected, and in that way you can connect with the authors of these statements if you feel some degree of empathy. The next movement is called montage. Montage causes all of the feelings that contain photographs to become extracted and display themselves in a grid. This grid is then said to represent the picture of the world's feelings in the last few hours, if you will. Each of these can be clicked, and we can blow it up. We see, I just feel like I'm not going to have fun if it's not the both of us. That was from someone in Michigan. We see, I feel like I have been at a computer all day. These are automatically constructed using the found objects. I think I feel a little full. The next movement is called mobs. Mobs provides different statistical breakdowns of the population of the world's feelings in the last few hours. We see that better is the most frequent feeling right now, followed by good, bad, guilty, right, down, sick, and so on. We can also get a gender breakdown, and we see that women are slightly more prolific talking about their emotions in the last few hours than men. We can do an age breakdown, which gives us a histogram of the world's emotional distribution by age. We see people in their 20s are the most prolific, followed by teenagers, and then people in their 30s, and it dies out very quickly from there. In weather, the feelings assume the physical characteristics of the weather that they represent, so that the ones collected on a sunny day swirl around as if they're part of a sun, the cloudy ones float along as if they're on a breeze, the rainy ones fall down as if they're in a rainstorm, and the snowy ones kind of flutter to the ground. Finally, location causes the feelings to move to their positions on a world map showing the geographical distribution of feelings. Metrics provides more numerical views on the data. We see that the world is feeling used at 3.3 times the normal level right now. They're feeling warm at 2.9 times the normal level, and so on. Other views are also available here: gender, age, weather, location. The final movement is called mounds. It's a bit different from the others. Mounds visualizes the entire data set as large gelatinous blobs, which kind of jiggle. And if I hold down my cursor, they do a little dance. We see better as the most frequent feeling, followed by bad. And then if I go over here, the list begins to scroll, and there's actually thousands of feelings that have been collected. You can see the little pink cursor moving along, representing our position. Here we see people that feel slipping, nauseous, responsible. There's also a search capability if you're interested in finding out about a certain population. For instance, you could find women who feel addicted in their 20s when it was cloudy in Bangladesh. But I'll spare you that. So here are some of my favorite montages that have been collected. I feel so much of my dad alive in me that there isn't even room for me. I feel very lonely. I need to be in some backwoods redneck town so that I can feel beautiful. I feel invisible to you. I wouldn't hide it if society didn't make me feel like I needed to. I feel in love with Carolyn. I feel so naughty. I feel these weirdos are actually an asset to college life. I love how I feel today. So as you can see, We Feel Fine uses a technique that I call passive observation. What I mean by that is that it passively observes people as they live their lives. It scans the world's blogs and looks at what people are writing, and these people don't know they're being watched or interviewed, and because of that, you end up getting very honest, candid, sincere responses that are often very moving. And this is a technique that I usually prefer in my work because people don't know they're being interviewed, they're just living life, and they end up just acting like that.